had an interesting conversation recently with a client and friend. We were dialoguing on the sort of the organizing principle of an organization now that we're coming out of 18 months of massive disruption and separation. At least it seems we are. People are distributed, workflows are different, and it was tied to the idea of how do we use the standard sort of, North Star intent of the organization, my vision, mission statements, et cetera, all the way down to sort of measurable metrics and KPIs, et cetera, sort of standard stuff that rolls down. How can I leverage this to get people reoriented in where we're heading? And I think it's a critical piece because it tells people, here's where we are as a business, here's how we're going to get to the next level, et cetera. But where the conversation ended up going was around what I would call inside McChrystal Group sort of a cultural organizing principle that actually develops more organically. What I just described there is a very formal process. You review it quarterly, at least we do. But we've also had in just sort of the ether of the organization this idea that came with some of us from the Navy, even though many of us didn't serve on ships that much, but the concept of shipmate and self. And if you want one thing that I think is great about McChrystal Group, if you ask anyone in the organization, like, give me sort of the cultural ethos, they'll probably to the person say, well, we have this concept of shipmate and self. And it's sort of non-reducible, it's pretty elegant, and it's an easy way for you to frame your activities and your focus. Where that overall strategy document, it's great and important, but it's not designed necessarily to make those split moment decisions. And so we're huge believers in the culture of team and supporting teammates where it's needed. But the concept of shipmate self, at least from my understanding, goes way back in military nautical world to say, look, if the ship, we're all out to sea, if the ship sinks, we're all going to drown out here in the middle of the ocean. So the first thing I want to be doing personally and with my teammates is to say, is the ship stable? Or is the business doing well? Are we heading in the right direction? Are there risks? Are there near-term problems? Is there something happening right now that we need to patch that hole in the ship? Or are we comfortable with where we're heading? And so everybody's orienting themselves towards the health and direction of the business. If I'm comfortable that that's good, then I'm looking, is there a shipmate to my left or right that could use my help right now? Right? Does someone overloaded with their work? Does someone have a project emerging that they could use some extra hands on? Now, especially in a remote world, leveraging digital technology to be able to stay connected and thinking through your knowledge management, so that sort of outreach and scanning of your shipmates isn't a whole series of overwhelming one-on-one conversations. So how do you synchronize as a team? We do that every day where everybody can dial in and say, here's what I'm working on, I can use a little bit of help. And so it gives folks to say, an opportunity to say, I've got some bandwidth, I will go out and help this shipmate. And if it's one great personality in your team that always does that, that person's going to get quickly overwhelmed, right? If that's part of your organizing principle as a culture, and everyone is thinking about other shipmates, then no one is getting burnt out. And if you are collectively burnt out, then you've got, okay, we've got a problem as a ship here. There's too much to do here collectively. But when these two are shored up, and I'm comfortable that my shipmates are covered down on, then I'm going to go back and look at self. Am I getting the rest, the mental break, the focus that I need to be able to execute my job? And what we've found in our organization is with this level of priority, rarely do I identify sort of a self issue before a shipmate has said, hey, I think, let me help you out with that, or have you thought about doing X, Y, Z? And so whether this language, shipmate self, works for your organization or not, we are huge believers, and this is where that conversation I was referencing earlier ultimately went, was have some sort of simple, hopefully non-reducible cultural ethos and organizing principle that people can quickly align against in those moments of, what should I be focused on right now, doing with my time? This, we found, is a really important part of that sort of underpinning of any organization that is moving fast, and in today's very complex world, that quick snapshot could be very, very helpful.